Good morning, everyone, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to participate in our quarterly Info Bite, sponsored by Quest Equality and Inclusion Council and produced by your employee resource groups. We currently have 3 active ERGs at Quest working to create a safe space for Quest employees to discuss matters pertaining to our communities and are supported by incredible allies and executive leadership at Quest. Quest Colors, Women at Quest, and Quest Pride are all working together to give you an inside look today into the lives of the women at Quest. We'll discuss their lives in and out of the office, their successes, some of their struggles, and how we can all be allies to each other regardless of gender at Quest, in our day-to-day lives as well. But before we get to the topic at hand, I'd like to take a moment to welcome my amazing panel of women and welcome them all today and let them tell you a little bit about themselves.
Thank you, Joseph. I'm Rukmini Devakar. The pronouns I go by are she or her. I'm based out of India. I'm a part of the HR team and work as a business partner, senior advisor at Quest. I've always been an ally and have continuously contributed towards various areas like empowering the differently abled, girl child education, environmental causes, women's rights, and many more. When I got to know about the ERGs here at Quest, I was super excited to be a part of them. I associated myself with all the 3 ERGs, and I'm super happy about it. I'm now the co-chair for Quest Colors, communication coordinator for for Women at Quest ERG, and currently creating some foundations to work with Quest Pride too. I'm thrilled that I'm able to do my bit with the opportunities that have come by and love to contribute in all my capacities. Over to you, Magali.
Hi, thanks, Nini. This is Magali Regalado. I go by she, her. I am Human Resources Business Partner. I am based in Panama in Latin American region. I'm currently the chair of Women at Quest ERG. And certainly I'm part of this ERG because I truly believe that volunteerism increases network and wide opportunities for your career development. So I have the pleasure to introduce Anat.
Thanks, Magali. My name is Anat Dor. My pronouns are she and her. I am based in Israel, and I'm the manager director of the performance monitoring R&D team in the ISM business unit. I was one of the founders of the Women at Quest ERG, and I'm currently the co-chair. I joined the CRG because I always noticed the number of women in tech is significantly smaller than men, and was very curious how we can change this and what can I do to change it. So this ERG enabled me to connect to more women from all over the company and all over the world. And I got to know some amazing women I never would have met otherwise. That has enriched my life, not only professionally, but also personally. So I truly recommend everyone, women and allies, to join us. And together we can start changing the numbers and make sure more women are successful in this industry at all, and in Quest in particular. Over to you, Aida.
Thanks, Anat. Hi, everyone. My name is Ida, and I am based out of Cork in Ireland, and I'm part of the One Identity Inside Sales team. And I also go by she, her pronouns. I'm a member of 2 ERGs, Quest Colors, which I am the communication coordinator, and Women at Quest. The 2 reasons why I am part of the ARGs is because, one, I wanted to feel connected with my colleagues and empowered and have a voice about the things that that matter to us all. And the second reason is since we're all still working remotely in one way or another, at least for me, 3 days a week from home. Still getting siloed behind your computer screen can happen unintentionally, and I want to avoid that. We want to avoid that. So being part of ARGs helped me build relationships across different departments. So that's me, and I'll pass you over to Candice.
Hi everyone, my name is Candice Lovett and I am the chair of Quest Colors. I'm currently also a member of Women at Quest and an ally to Pride at Quest. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I'm based here in Houston, and I work on the operations team. The main reason why I joined most of our employee resource groups is because I love being of service. And I love getting to know people and their walks of life. And it's just been such an enriching and profound time for me, getting to know everyone on this call and also all of the people that we work with within our ERGs. But thank you so much for having me, and over to you, Joseph.
Thank you. And my name is Joseph Parks. I go by he, him pronouns, and I am the chair of Quest Pride, which has been a wonderful experience for me. But I would say the thing I'm the most passionate about with our ERGs is our intersectional work. I am an ally to Quest Colors and Women at Quest, and I feel as passionate about supporting those communities as I do my own in the LGBTQ plus community. And I just feel like the more we can connect and learn from each other and share our stories, the more we realize how much we have in common. And so it's been an honor working with this group of women. So before we get into the inner lives of these ladies, we're first going to start with some statistics about women in the workplace that Magali's going to share with us. Over to you, Magali.
Thanks, Joseph. It is an important topic to raise awareness about how business can create the ideal work culture for female employees. So I'm really excited that I'll be sharing this data for you guys. As a matter of fact, let me tell you that it has been a research from different studies. According to Gallup, within its article called "Women in America: Work and Life Well Lived." In the US, more than 5 million jobs are available, but women continue to drop out of the workforce in troubling numbers. So far less than half of female employees, 35% to be precise, are engaged in their jobs versus 29% male employees. 45% of 48% of female employees say they're actively looking for a different job or watching for new opportunities. 60% of women rate greater work life balance and better personal well being as a very important attribute in a new job. Organizations must create cultures that enable definitely women to maximize their full potential in and out of the workplace. Organizations that continue to enforce outdated policies will not be able to keep up with employers who offer more choice and flexibility and greater trust and transparency. Can you believe that 1 out of 10 women preferred on site jobs, according to McKinsey report? And 45% of women say they would like to become CEO or have a position in a senior management for leadership roles. To attract, retain, and engage a modern workforce, business leaders must be courageous and begin to examine, if not overhaul, their organization's policies, strategies, cultures, and values. According to Deloitte Diversity and Inclusion Revolution report, there is value added to those organizations who decide to create and become ambassadors of a true and legitimate inclusion philosophy. Better ideas, 6 times more innovative compared to others, 3.8 times more probability to embrace coaching and become a high performance organization, generate 6% income compared to others, and 8 times more probability to achieve better results. According to American Sociological Review, and 32% of women in engineering roles are often the only women in room at work. So there is a particular global perspective from Lean In McKinsey from 2022. Women in the Workplace is the largest study on the state of women in corporate America. In 2015, Leanin.org and McKinsey and Company launched their study to give companies insights and tools to advance gender diversity in the workplace. Between 2015 and 2022, over 810 companies participated in this study, and more than 400,000 people were surveyed on their workplace experiences. This year, they collected information from 333 participating organizations employing more than 12 million people, surveyed more than 40,000 employees, and conducted interviews with women of diverse identities, including women of color, LGBTQ plus women, and women with disabilities. Their 2022 report focuses on how the pandemic has changed what women want from their companies, including the growing importance of opportunity, flexibility, employee well being, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. Many women are switching jobs for better opportunities, but some are considering downshifting and leaving the workforce. In the past year, 29% of women and 22% of men have thought about reducing their hours, taking a less demanding job, or leaving the workforce altogether, although far fewer have actually taken these actions. While the standard tactics to improve diversity, equality, and inclusion, including early recruitment and interview preparation for underrepresented minorities, unconscious bias trainings, and inclusivity surveys, are helpful to any company. Absolutely. A set of tailored and unique actions can help improve diversity and inclusion and lead across the business community. Here's a small sample of those actions that we'll see shortly, but certainly we wanted to give visibility that despite modest progress, women are still dramatically underrepresented in leadership. As we can see from 2017 towards 2022, there has been fewer points increase for senior managers or directors levels and below grade of hierarchy. However, it has been representing across vice presidents and above levels, right? So there are a lot of opportunity and there are great alternatives that we also would like to share in our panel this day. Let me tell you that I would love to share this advice to leaders to become women's advocate. Make a public commitment. For example, at Quest, in all our job openings, we make sure to include the clause of Quest is an equal opportunity employer. Conduct diversity assessments of targets. Focus on diversity performance. This to ensure succession planning is effective and intentionally done. Set diversity targets for boards. Organizations have seats on the boards of most of their businesses. They can use those to position qualified, diverse candidates. They can also add seats to create a diverse board of directors with relevant skill sets for their companies. Establish diverse management teams. Organizations can review the diversity of each portfolio company's workforce and management and identify areas where increased diversity, equality, and inclusion could lead to improved culture and performance. Thank you, Joseph. Turn to you.
Oh, thank you, Magali. I think wonderful presentation. Particularly that last slide of the tips. I think that's wonderful for leadership and just all of our employees to see. Because I feel like with allies of any group, people often ask the question, well, what can I do? How can I help? And I feel like those are great action items for us to take to anyone in the workplace. Now we're going to get to know the panel a little bit better. First, we're going to start with my co-founder of this InfoByte series and one of the producers of it, Rukmini Divakar, who has an amazing career in HR. Would love to get her advice on this topic and thoughts.
Thank you, Joseph. And thank you, Magali, for that splendid data. I think this will help organizations rethink and see how we can be better ambassadors and allies. For me personally, I've always questioned a lot since I've been a child, I've always questioned and I've, asked my parents a lot of things. Why is this like this? Why is the society like this? So many things about patriarchy and stereotypes and prejudices that, world holds. And I think this took a break, like Magali said, during the pandemic. You see those changes in percentages. So personally, for me, I think this whole thing took a 360-degree turn during the pandemic because I think it kind of disrupted the normal way of life for all of us, right? We had to look for solutions to from where we can just blend in because there were lockdowns, we were all working from home, we had parents, we had children, we some of them were just staying away from family. So many things that we had to quickly cope up and just step up so that we can continue the way of life. But it's been 2 years now, and I think the post-pandemic, we're all trying to go back to how it was in the pre-pandemic, right? We're struggling with those things to go back of things how they were. But I think the pandemic gave us a lot of tools, a lot of eye-opening experiences that we feel that no, I want to be there. I want to use those tools. I want that experience, right? So I think that's where I would come up with my own set of experiences that has helped me taught a lot of new things and has helped me cope as a woman, I should say. Given the current scenarios with the world, the society, the economy, we have quiet quitting, moonlighting, recession around the corner, and so many things happening. Given these facets of the dynamics of our economy and society, don't you think we need to be there for each other, whether at work, whether at home? I think you really need to have our community, our ecosystems that we need to build so that we are there for each other. We can support each other, right? So I think this is where these smaller communities build to help us be an ally and help us grow from where we are. So I was recently having this conversation with my friend, and I'm sure all of us know about the glass ceiling effect. But then there's a new phenomena called the glass floor effect. And it was surprising to know that this is something that's picking up over, I think, from the pandemic, where your gender roles, right? So when the pandemic hit, gender roles were kind of shaken, right? There was cooking, there was laundry, there was children, there were parents, there were so many things that had to happen. You had to just pick up. Gender kind of became a little lucid and fluid at that time, and people started understanding that it's not gender driven. It's just the work that needs to be done for a family to sustain. So class floor effect is something where women just relax. They kind of just play video games, spend time with their children, go out with their girlfriends, just chill, just give yourself that break without the guilty tag. Because I'm sure all women here agree with me, because you have the constant to-do list going on, right? I need to get this done, I need to get that done, laundry, food, groceries, children, homework, this, that. It's a constant thing. I think that's how women are wired, right? And we kind of fall into that loop and kind of say, oh, I shouldn't have gone to the spa today, or I shouldn't have spent an extra hour with my girlfriend today, things like that. But then, hey, we at the end are humans, and we really need to cut some slack, and you need to give yourself that credit to do that. So I think as women, what tools are there for our disposal? What can we do? I'm sure through experiences, we have our own coping mechanisms that are there. But personally, I would love to share something that I kind of built up during the pandemic, and that's the ABS. So, if you drive two-wheelers or four-wheelers, or if you're familiar with vehicles, there's something called as an anti-lock braking system. So this basically helps you steer in emergencies by restoring traction to your tires, right? So basically, what it does is it helps the wheels of the vehicles prevent from locking up, so that you can steer safely. The driver can steer safely. So for me, I think the ABS for life, it's an acronym which I would break it down for all of you. So A. So A stands for appreciate and advocate. So appreciate yourself as a woman, as an individual, as you are. You are unique. And at the same time, appreciate all the women who are with you, around you, who help you, the community that you have. I think we really need to be grateful and thankful for whom we have in our life. The next is advocate. I think Magali also touched on that. Be an ally. It's it's so very important for us to be an ally, advocate, be there for the women in your life, be there for yourself. It's very, very important. The next is B. The first B is boosting self-esteem. I know the daily routines of life kind of just pushes us back, and then we kind of, oh God, we have to do this, we have to do that. It's the same old routine round the clock. But then, hey, I think empowered women always empower others, right? It's always a chain reaction. So I always say, have those kind of ecosystems that can help you boost your self-esteem and help others as well to keep motivated to stay on track. Next, B is be open and honest. I know it's a little tricky. We feel, when we say the truth or when we share our stories, we kind of become vulnerable to our ecosystems or to our people around us. But then, hey, you never know where you're being inspiring to somebody else. You could become a person who's giving your experiences, and someone else could learn out of it and say, hey, she could do it, I could do it, right? The next B is be yourself, don't compare. Like I said, you're unique. You come with certain unique qualities, and never compare. I know there is social media, there's so many things that we see, and we're like, you kind of get that into that vicious cycle in your mind. Always seen this debate going on between a homemaker and a working woman. Like a homemaker sees a working woman and says, oh, she has all the freedom, her career, and everything is so great. But then a working woman looks at her and says, hey, she has time to see her children grow, to be there with her family, right? So this vicious cycle, don't bog yourself down by comparing yourself with others. The last B is build your network. It is so important to be a role model, be a mentor, but at the same time, build your network because you grow from where you sow. That is so important. Choose your people wisely, choose your networks wisely. So, of the A, B, and S, the last one is S, which is very important. Shut down negativity. I think this is something that pulls all of us down. So, by being an advocate, by being an ally, by being yourself, by being honest, I think you help others and you help yourself by not letting this negativity break you down. There's someone could just say some comment, your colleague, your friend, your family, and that just kind of puts you in that loop of saying, oh no, I'm this or I'm that. You can't start of labeling yourself and you start losing it. So don't do that. Shut down negativity as much as possible. So at the end, I would say we are a daughter, spouse, sister, mother, and we do so many different roles in our lives. But never forget to fill your cup. My mother always says this to me. She's a great role model. She always tells me, fill your cup, it's important. Because only after you fill your cup and when it's overfilling, you can give others. And one of Oprah Winfrey's shows, also, one of the speakers says this, it's not selfish, but self-full, right? Only when you have can you give. Thank you so much. Over to you,
Oh,
Joseph.
thank you, Mimi. That was amazing. Yeah, I'm always blown away and frankly kind of struggle with how I see what you were talking about with the gender roles, how even in the world we live in where women have these great opportunities and in some cases could be making more money than their male counterparts at home, like their husbands. But then this expectation that they are still filling all of those other roles, as far as, with homemaker and mother and sister and daughter. And it is mind blowing, all the different hats that you have to wear in a given day, for sure. And on this work life balance theme, Magali, can you share with us the story you have about some of the things you've gone through?
Sure, absolutely. And thank you, Minnie. That was amazing. All the formula and great recipe that you had found out. My husband, he has his own job responsibilities. He's an air conditioning technician. So whenever I had found in the last semester that definitely I wanted to improve my knowledge, and I was brave enough to accept a challenge from my leadership team that I enjoyed studying, and certainly I was in the process to get a HR certification about Strengths Finder. So definitely that was very unique in my daily routine. because for over these months, besides doing my full-time job, I wanted, and this was something that I wanted to do. And whenever Minnie was speaking about the self-full and filling up your cup, that was part of something that I wanted to do it, right. So I spoke to my husband that there were gonna be days during the week that I might not be able to cook lunch or prepare supper or do laundry on time or try to have the house clean, right. Of course, I work from home, he does work outside, of course. So there was this coincidence that I didn't want to feel guilty about households, but at the same time I wanted to hold him accountable that to support me, right, in a sense that if I wanted to get that certification, we needed to communicate each other and don't assume that I was just shutting down the door just to be in a private environment in my job, right? It was because I definitely wanted to get that certification, and it was amazing. Just some communication and conversations that we had. That it certainly he was supportive enough and said, if that is something that you want to do not worry about lunch. Don't worry about laundry. We'll figure it out where to do it, when to do it, or enjoy on another way, right? I mean, go outside or something. But definitely, that was a situation that happened to me, that having effective communication with your environment, with your supportive group or your life partners, it could absolutely help to improve and get better career opportunities as well.
I love that. Good for your husband. He's a good man.
That's right. That's right.
Um, Anat, as a manager, I love your journey of, rising to management throughout the years. Can you tell the group a little bit about that process?
Thank you, Joseph. Sure. And thank you both, Minnie and Magali, for sharing your stories. Really love to hear them. And I think both ties up to my story as well. I've been to Quest for 10 years, almost 11 if you're really particular about dates. But only the last two are in management. And it wasn't that I was shy before. I had a central role, was vocal. I talked to a lot of stakeholders during my day job, but I never imagined myself taking a leading role in managing people. Part of it, I guess, is because I didn't knew Minnie's ABS. I didn't have the confidence. uh, Maybe other women can relate. Someone heard about the imposter syndrome or the other uh, gender roles, as you call them, Joseph, that I had to do as well. Although I had a supportive family as well, but something within me didn't just let me go and do that. And it took my manager from 2 years ago who said, "Well, I think you can do this role. Come and do it." And luckily for me, he asked, and I accepted. And here we are now. I'm managing the entire team. Um, so my takeaway is that as managers, we have a big role to identify such opportunities and lead people, men or women, right, to the correct place they need to go. But for women, I think if someone will spot their abilities and lead them there is even more important, because often, because of things we already talked about, they won't do that themselves necessarily. So that's my recommendation, and ask from all allies listening to this. And for women, seek this advice from other women, from your managers. Don't be afraid. Remember mini ABS. That's the most important thing. And you can do that, right? If I could, then and anyone could. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. For the men watching, I feel like a big way we can be allies is by, consciously making choices about, where you work and who you work for, So I did a post about this that'll be released this week. But for me, I was interviewed by 3 strong female leaders in the process of coming to work at Quest. And I would say that was definitely a decision maker for me of like, okay, I really like this team and I like that they're promoting this. And that was a choice that I made. So be conscious in your decisions and make sure you're supporting the right kind of environment where you see a place for everyone at the table. Ida, you have this great perspective on just how we evolve in time and how you personally have evolved through your career, which I love because I feel like there are no rules to this game. You can change or stay the same.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you, Joseph, and thank you all you amazing ladies for your insight. So mine is yes, as you said it, Joseph. It's about changing direction. So yeah, so right after graduating college, I was so naive and adamant about finding a job relevant to what I studied. But little did I know, most people enter their careers not because it's relevant to what they did in college or to their educational qualification. So, tough but harsh reality, especially for me, for someone like me, as I've put myself through undergrad and graduate school after having my son, who's 15 now, with the hope of landing a dream job that will pay off for all the sacrifices that I've made in the pursuit of academic achievement. So, very long story short, I started an entry level job at a SaaS company, and um, I, well, I only thought I will gain nothing other than simply getting a paid, just a salary and just making a living. But guess what? I end up loving it and being good at it too. But then for me, instead of being happy that I liked this newfound career and thinking about career progression, um, I was worried and held back with this huge fear of making my prior years a waste of time and dream. So, as I navigate through life and different experiences, I've had and continue to have the absolute privilege of connecting, learning, and sharing the challenges and opportunities with the amazing and inspiring fellow women, mothers. And this is where the magic of learning happened for me, gaining so much valuable experience um, through transferable skills, even from the roles that weren't necessarily my dream, because of experience and also networking. So when Minnie was talking about pick who you network with carefully, network with people. That is it. You have to network with people because you don't know what you get from the next person that you network with. So I've learned, how to be open-minded to my dreams evolving, and what we want in life can evolve. And our dreams don't have to stay always the same. They don't have to last forever. So, what is the most important thing in our lives 10 years ago may not or should not be the most important thing now. At least for me, it's not the same. So, taking a chance and leaping into any workforce as a woman and as a human made me realize that dreams and goals tend to serve a purpose as we develop and grow as individuals. And eventually, those dreams and goals evolve and give our life new meaning. So, the main thing or the big lesson here is be open. Don't be afraid to be open to change that life brings on you, because our dreams are meant to evolve. So bringing it back to Quest, when I joined the company, one of my goals was to be part of ERGs that are focused on creating an excellent place for women employees to thrive and not just survive, because I have done that. I survived, just survived in other places where there isn't this kind of outlet. So obviously, we can't solve every problem for everyone and every group, but we want to build a company where women have the same opportunity as men. And more importantly, we want to build a culture where every race and gender has equal opportunities to succeed. So, as a result of being part of ERGs, I have become a better person in general and employee, and built better networking relationship with my colleagues. So, I can only encourage people to be part of ERGs, because there are lots of benefits to be getting out of more than even what we discuss here today. So yeah, that's me. Thank you very much. Back to you, Joseph.
That was amazing, Ida.
Oh,
So inspiring.
Mm.
And last but not least, I'd like to turn it over to a person who, to me, is diversity, equality, and inclusion at Quest. Candice Lovett. She's another co-founder of this series. She is a part of all the ERGs. I can't talk about her too much because I'll start crying, because she just, to me, epitomizes all of the goals of the ERGs. And I'm so grateful for her support. But so Candice, bring us home. Where do we go from here? What are your final thoughts on the topics we've been discussing?
I really, really enjoyed everyone's story. And what's ironic about, this particular moment is that the theme for Women's History Month is celebrating her story. And it's just crazy how each of us have a similar thread that's going through each of our stories. And for me, the takeaway that I feel that should be for leadership and leaders and anyone that's trying to be an ally is to embrace equity, which is also the theme of Women's International Day this year for Women's History. And when I think about my particular story, up until maybe this week, I carried like a bit of shame in terms of my story, in terms of my career path, And I remember just having those paranoias of being being on a team with the same amount of qualities, the same amount of qualifications, expertise, and experience amongst my peers, men, women of all colors, and always having that paranoia of, I know I'm not being paid the same amount, but I know for a fact much more is being required of me. And I will say that it was a little tough pill to swallow each and every time, like with Ida. And Ida was saying, over time you redirect your path. And there have been a lot of times where I've had to redirect my path. And it also speaks to Magali's research that she did with McKinney. And we've come a long way with women in leadership, and there's been so many people fighting before us, and we have a little ways to go, even though we have a lot of women in leadership. But there's what's important to be highlighted is, even with the research that she did, 5% of the people in the C-suite are women of color, and it made me think about I know this is probably a silly, thought, but I was thinking to myself, have we really cracked the glass ceiling? And I'm weird. For me, and like a lot of people, if I have a question, I'm going to Google it. I don't care what that question is. It can be 3:00 in the morning. Yeah. Okay, why is the color green green? I'm going to Google it. So I, went on this quest to Google if we have actually cracked the glass ceiling. And like Meanie, I found another phenomenon, and it was the glass cliff. And the glass cliff is pretty much what happens when failing companies look to promote or find a person or to promote a woman into a leadership role that could steer the company into the green again. And the trick with that is, and the most mind-blowing thing with that is, so if the company that is already deemed to fail, if it fails, that blame can be placed on that particular woman. But at the same time, the company can be looked at as though, oh, they were progressive. They hired a woman. And so with that, after that happens, they go on to hire a male. So either way it looks, it's a win for the company, but it pushes women of color, people of color back in terms of the opportunities that are out there. It reinforces those ideas that we've always had this tried and true, way of hiring men into the workforce, or, so that's what we're going to keep doing, because we've tried these other ways. We've tried being progressive, we tried DE&I, and it didn't work. So I would say for companies at this particular moment would be to embrace equity. And I read somewhere that equality is giving everyone a shoe, but equity is ensuring that a shoe fits everybody. And we're all in this together. We're all stakeholders in the work of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And I think over time, companies, leadership, and their employees have been in the same book in terms of DEI, but it's now important that we get on the same page. It's one thing to be in the book together, but we all have to be on the same page. So that was my
Thank
spiel.
you. Thank you so much, Candace. And I just, want to, again, thank you all for being a part of this. Each of you is so inspiring to me, and I know you'll inspire the rest of our fellow Questies out there in the world. And I know it gives us all a lot to think about, and how we can be better allies to all of the women in our lives at work and at home. Ask questions, see how you can support the women in your lives. Really make an effort to do this. And thank you all who have attended today and watched this session. If you're interested in joining Quest Colors, Women at Quest, or Quest Pride, please email eicouncil@quest.com, and then we can direct you to the individual ERGs and the leadership involved. But until then, thank you so much for being a part of this, and we look forward to our next session with you. Thank you.